Is the director of the New Lines Institute for Strategy and Policy, which is a nonpartisan think tank. He joins me now from Chicago. Azeem, good to have you on the show. So the findings in this report is quite alarming. The allegations point to rampant and widespread, but also committed with the knowledge of the very top of Myanmar's military. This, I mean, for lack of a better word, it's awfully alarming.
This is indeed very alarming, but at the same time, it's also very predictable. The fact of the matter is that almost every Myanmar watcher seen this coming after the coup. Essentially, that the Myanmar military, the Tatmadaw, is using exactly the same playbook as they used against the Rohingya minority when they expelled over 1 million of them during the genocidal campaign a few years ago. And once the Myanmar military realized that they could get away with that and there was almost no reaction from the international community, they simply decided to extend the same tactics against the rest of the civilian population. So this is essentially the same concept that if you allow one genocide to happen, you're opening the door to many other atrocities. And so an emboldened Myanmar military is now essentially trying to battle down against the civilian uprising since the coup in February 2021. You know, an astonishing number of casualties, over 6,300 casualties, with many more being reported every single day because of this emboldened military.
See, I mean, the intent in publishing this report is that it's all going to be part of a case that can be used by courts to hold particular individuals and perpetrators responsible. I mean, you said this is the same playbook that they actually had against the Rohingya, and that went pretty much unpunished. So the question is this really going to make any difference?
It's going to make very little difference, except until countries in the region take much more responsibility. And this means the countries in the ASEAN, so neighbouring countries, and particularly China, who play a very important role in this. The international community has essentially washed its hands off Myanmar since the Rohingya genocide, and they are looking towards ASEAN, the leaders of ASEAN, the likes of Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, and most importantly, China, to play a much more overt role in terms of bringing the military to account and trying to put an end to this death toll that seems to be rising every single day.
Do you think China has that intention?
China wants stability more so than anything else. China is a very large investor in Myanmar, and as China's playbook has always indicated, they are willing to deal with whomsoever is in power, whether it's Aung San Suu Kyi in the civilian government or whether it's the military. But the most important thing for China is to have stability. And the coup leaders of this, General Min Aung Hlaing and the other army generals, believe that this would be over very quickly in February 2021 when they first initiated the coup. But this has been going on for so long. They never expected such an uprising to continue with such ferocity against the military rule. So this is certainly not going China's way. And I think China will have to look at this and intervene much more overtly to put an end to this, to bring about stability in the region.
I want to shift gears with you a little, Azeem, going back to the ruling military's decision recently in terms of handing down a partial pardon to Suu Kyi on, I think, was 5 of the 19 offenses. What exactly do you think is the intention here?
The intention is very straightforward. The military is just trying to show that they have some sort of compassion and that they have some sort of mechanism by which to hand out fair justice. But the reality is this will make no difference at all. Aung San Suu Kyi is more than likely to die in prison. There's almost no chance that she would be released. And most importantly, there's almost no calls from the international community, as it was before, to have her released. If you remember, she was the first prisoner of conscience of Amnesty International. There was an international campaign by leaders to have her released. She won the Nobel Peace Prize while under house arrest. And now, during this period of arrest, there's almost no calls at all. She has no international champions, simply because she became a champion of the military against the Rohingya minority and against all minorities, in fact. Many of these sentences and the change in the sentences and the leniency will make very little difference overall.
Okay. Azeem Ibrahim, thank you very much for joining us. I'm afraid we're going to leave it there. Pleasure having you on the NewsHour.